I love stealing. Wait, that didn't come out right. What I meant to say was stealing is a very important part of the creative process. As any artist could tell you, we will often look at things and say, ooh, I want to make that, or I want to make something similar to that, or I want this thing to consume every part of my work until nothing is left and that's the only thing I can think about for the rest of my life. Stealing is very important. But you know what steals things at an imperceptible rate and absolutely indiscriminately and can't have thoughts of its own? AI. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at AI-generated character designs on Pinterest and fixing them, turning them into something that's actually worth looking at. Because anything made by a human, whether it be a cave painting, a sparkle dog OC, or one of those punk edits from like 2012, is worth more than something made by a computer. And I want to make it clear that I didn't generate any of these images. These images are from Pinterest. But yeah, and if you like this video, my name is Jade Glowing Moss, and you can subscribe down below and like and comment if you liked it. Let's get into the character designs, and I'll meet you at the speed paint. So before I get into the speed paint portion of this video, I actually wanted to give a shout out to Lucky Inkyo for inspiring me. This video concept. Anyways, moving on. I chose this character because I thought that he looked pretty good, except there's like a lack of intentionality with the way his design is done. I wanted to humanize it and make him look good, but also make him look like a person made him. The choices that I made were, I wanted to make his face look like he was making an actual expression rather than just kind of like staring off into the distance and having a very like neutral or like mildly perturbed expression. So I made him look actually like very disgruntled, and I thought he looked kind of wizardly with the pose with the book and everything, so I wanted to kind of emphasize that in his design. In doing that, I gave him kind of half moon glasses instead of the big round ones because I think those look kind of juvenile. Ultimately, what I learned the most from this design is that I'm not good at character design. That would be because I've never practiced it before. Obviously, I have many characters who I know and I love, and you know how much I love my characters because I talked all about it in my last video, which you should check out. I really tried to lean into actually, like, after I realized how like weird this design looked because I didn't really change much about it, or like I realized there were so many things I could have changed to make it better that it really taught me a lot. And you'll see in the next two designs like how much I actually learned. But I really didn't use a lot of references. I didn't choose things intentionally because I was just kind of copying what was on the page already, which isn't the best practice when doing things like this. Obviously, you should never steal any real person's OC, but these were all generated by AI that I found on Pinterest. And what's really sinister about these designs in particular are that you can now turn off AI on Pinterest, by the way, and I did have this turned off, so I searched specifically for AI generated pictures, and what people have done is ripped these from DeviantArt where people are selling them as adopts, which is actually horrendous. There were people had put watermarks on these designs, and like obviously, as I pointed out, you can tell that they are generated by AI because of the obvious telltale signs, but they had watermarks on them, so somebody was trying to sell them to you, and you should never fall for something like that. Like never give someone like that your money because they don't deserve it, because what you just purchased for, I don't know, $20 to $50, they generated on ChatGPT for free. And that you should never fall for that. You should instead draw something yourself, steal it from them, or like report them, because that is super bad. So back to the design process. I had a little bit of trouble with his hair because I have a very specific rendering process for hair. I add the shadows, and then I add the highlights, and I blend out the highlights, and then I color pick from the blended out highlight to get colors to add texture back into the hair. But I think that was a little bit of a pain point for me with this one. And also I added a gradient map at some point to make it look more cohesive. But yeah, don't buy AI generated art, people. Like, pay attention to what you're purchasing and make sure it's made by an actual person, because if you buying AI art is just going to make it continue to make the machine continue to churn out stuff and make people continue to be incentivized to make things like this, and it's really disgusting. So yeah, and I don't blame you for not being able to tell, because it's getting really difficult these days. But yeah, well, let's get on to the next design where I actually do some designing and make it look actually good. Now let's take a look at the AI generated image that I chose for this before we get into the actual design. So a big thing that you can tell in this one is that like a lot of the shapes don't make a lot of sense. Like the like little dangly thing that's hanging off of his like weird skirt thing is like, that doesn't make any sense. His hand is fucked up. He has this weird sash across his skirt that doesn't make any sense. His earrings look like dicks. It's just not, it's not good, and it doesn't make any sense. Let's get into the actual design process. So I actually thought that he looked like he would be like an ocean prince or something, or like an ocean magic person. So I wanted to lean into that, and I gave him these like fish ears, kind of like Laguna Blue has from Monster High. And I'm honestly really inspired by Monster High in my art, like to this day, because I grew up playing with them when I was younger. And the other inspiration behind this design was honestly like Genshin Impact and their like character designs with like kimono elements included, because I thought his like initial design looked like it had a kimono, but it's not, like it didn't make any sense. So I had to rework it and make it make sense. I gave him like a kimono sort of outfit, and I also gave him a more dynamic pose than the last one. I actually changed the pose, which I think was good. I wanted him to look like a baddie, like like he's the bad bitch of the sea. Like don't mess with him. Like he'll like cut you. I wanted to maintain the integrity of his tattoos and also his like armband things. I think those are cool. And I really wish I could talk to the artist who made this design, but I can't because it was a computer. So I go in and I used a lot of like wave shapes. Like I wanted to maintain the wavy look of his hair, like make it look like an ocean wave, because like I said, like his fishness, I wanted to make it very fishy looking or oceany. What I really learned is that you can use references for character design in the same, like in a very similar way to how you can use references for like poses or like faces and stuff like that. But in character design it's a little bit different. It's more you apply concepts rather than like with a face you can just kind of trace over it. But you shouldn't do that with character design. That's not good. So here I begin my rendering process where I add a bunch of dark and I add put it in multiply, and I make a bunch of like little minuscule like blending changes and stuff, and I go into my second pass. So yeah, rendering his hair made me go through hell, and I also had to turn up the saturation on him because I ended up making him look like he was deprived of melanin. Yeah, I turned up the saturation, and that was the end. And I think he turned out looking really cute. I think he looks a lot better than my last design, but my last one is where you can kind of see some of the things I learned as well. So let's get into that one. So again, like I've been doing, let's take a quick look at the AI generated source and kind of pick apart what's wrong with it. So we have our character gripping the blade of the sword rather than the hilt of it, which is actually really dangerous, and she probably has cuts all the way through her hand now. And also the pants don't make a whole lot of sense. Like you can kind of see what was intended, or I guess not intended because it's a computer, but like what was trying to be mimicked here, but it still doesn't translate like at all. And again, very neutral, like vaguely smiling expressions. And so in my redesign, what I decided to do was I struggled a lot with the pose, and if the pose and the hands look messed up, that's not because it's AI generated, it's just because I'm not good at drawing hands or making poses. But I really tried to make her pose emphasize her design, but also her sword. And so I made her kind of lean forward a little bit onto that front leg, and she was very easy for me to redesign, I think, because I think I had gotten those concepts down that I learned from my previous two. And you'll notice that I got lazy and stopped doing the like two little headshots next to them because I really didn't want to anymore. And this is my YouTube channel, I can do what I want. So the intentional choices I made behind this design were I wanted to really break up the big round shapes that you see in her shirt and her pants. And so how I did that was I made her belt like actually cinch her in a little bit, and I added the like the big rectangular shapes on her pants attached by the like middle kimono type belt thing. I don't really know anything about kimono, so like please inform me in the comments if I'm not doing things right. But again, design very inspired by Genshin Impact. I wanted to maintain her like fun, like smoky looking earrings, so I gave her those again. And this hair I had a lot of trouble with because I'm not good at drawing black hair because I always want to make it like just like gray and black, and that doesn't look good. So I really tried to make it look good, but in the end I really am still not happy with it. So yeah, you'll see me go back in and like blend it and unblend it and blend it and unblend it. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with how the design it's like as a whole came out. And then I added these fun little like eyeball thingies because I wanted to and I thought they looked cool. So yeah, that's what I did for the last design. Now it's time for the outro. So let's get into that. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. And just a couple of announcements before you go. I have a Discord. So you can join my Discord at the link in the description, and you can talk to me and my friends, and you can join my community. So totally join that if that's your thing. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below if you liked it, and also follow me on Instagram. And reminder that my commissions are still open, and I would really like for you to commission me if you want to support me. But if you don't have that much money, you can also buy me a coffee on my Ko-fi, which is also linked in my description. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you all for all of the love on the past couple of videos. I really appreciate it. And I have been Jade Glowing Moss. Bye!